I was in bed with my wife, and she answered the phone. And then she looked round at me and said, "I think you better get up and sit on the end of the bed and take this phone call."
The horrific moment on the night of August 31st, 1997, was when the world lost its beloved princess, often known as the People's Princess. Nearly 27 years later, the tragic loss of Princess Diana still reverberates in the hearts and minds of those close to her. Recently, one of these individuals, Colin Tibbet, has decided to speak out about the circumstances surrounding her untimely demise. Colin, who not only served as Diana's personal driver, but also as one of her closest friends, has unique insight into the events of that fateful night in 1997. Furthermore, he has revealed the tragic events that occurred in the days following her fatal accident. What revelations did Colin make, and what prompted him to wait decades before discussing the incident on live television? Prepare yourself for an in-depth exploration of events that occurred nearly 30 years ago. Princess Diana tragically lost her life in a car crash in Paris, leaving many people heartbroken, including her devoted driver, Colin Tibbet. Recently, Colin appeared as a guest on a talk show hosted by Kate and Ben, where he struggled to control his emotions as he recalled the tragic events that followed the accident. The hosts observed that a deep sense of responsibility and guilt for not driving that night had weighed heavily on him since her death. Colin began by recounting the moment he learned of the accident. He was in bed with his wife when the phone rang. His wife answered the call, and what initially seemed like a routine conversation soon shifted to a grave tone. Without saying a word, she handed the phone to Colin and urged him to sit up and take the call. Before discussing the events surrounding that fateful phone call, it is essential to reflect on Colin's enduring grief, which prompts contemplation regarding the circumstances of Princess Diana's untimely death. Princess Diana tragically lost her life on August 31st, 1997, in a car accident that occurred in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. This unfortunate incident transpired as the driver sought to evade the paparazzi. Alongside Diana, her companion Dodi Fayed and their driver Henri Paul, who also held the position of security manager at the Hotel Ritz Paris, perished in the crash. The sole survivor, Trevor Rees-Jones, employed as a bodyguard by Dodi's father, Mohammed Al-Fayed, sustained a severe head injury but ultimately survived the accident. Diana's funeral, held on September 6, 1997, was a momentous occasion that captured global attention. In the United Kingdom, the event was broadcast on television, achieving a peak viewing audience of 32.1 million, thereby becoming one of the most watched events in British television history. In the United States, the funeral attracted an audience of 50 million viewers. The broadcast reached over 200 countries, with an estimated 2.5 billion people worldwide witnessing the ceremony. Princess Diana was an immensely popular royal figure, and her unexpected passing elicited heartfelt statements from prominent leaders across the globe. Numerous individuals expressed their sorrow and admiration through touching tributes. In the months following her death, countless mourners visited Kensington Palace, leaving flowers, candles, cards, and personal messages, which underscored the profound impact Diana had on many lives. On August 31st, 1997, her coffin, draped in the royal flag, was transported back to London from Paris, accompanied by Charles, her former husband, and her two sisters. Upon arrival in London, Diana's coffin was first taken to a private mortuary before being moved to the Chapel Royal at St. James's Palace. This journey marked the commencement of a period of public mourning and remembrance. Additionally, on September 5th, Queen Elizabeth II paid tribute to Diana through a live television speech. The following day, September 6th, Diana's funeral was conducted at Westminster Abbey, where her sons participated in the funeral procession behind her coffin. They were joined by the Prince of Wales, the Duke of Edinburgh, Diana's brother Lord Spencer, and representatives from various charities supported by her. During the service, Lord Spencer delivered a poignant eulogy, highlighting that his sister had demonstrated in her final year that she did not require a royal title to create her own form of magic. Elton John performed Candle in the Wind, 1997, a specially rewritten version of his song in honor of Diana. This performance was particularly notable as it marked the only occasion he sang this rendition live. The single, released later in 1997, generated significant funds for Diana's charities through its global sales. Since the day of her passing, numerous theories regarding the circumstances of Diana's accident have emerged, some of which are quite surprising. Both British and French investigations have corroborated that Diana's death occurred as media reports indicated, following a car crash in Paris. A French investigation in 1999 concluded that Diana's death resulted from the crash itself. Judge Hervé Stéphane, the French investigator, determined that the paparazzi were not in close proximity to the Mercedes S280 at the time of the accident and were not culpable of manslaughter. Conversely, a British inquest in 2008 led a jury to conclude that Diana's death was attributable to unlawful killing, resulting from the actions of the driver, Henri Paul, and the pursuing paparazzi. The jury further noted that the failure to wear seatbelts and the vehicle's impact with a pillar in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel contributed to the fatalities. Many people have challenged the official account of Diana's death. One prominent critic was the British tabloid, the Daily Express. Another was Mohammed Al-Fayed, an Egyptian businessman whose son, Dodi, was Diana's partner and also died in the crash. In 2003, Paul Burrell, Diana's butler, revealed a note that he claimed Diana wrote in 1993. In this note, Diana allegedly said that her husband was planning a car accident to cause her a serious head injury so he could remarry. Diana reportedly expressed similar fears to her solicitor, Lord Mishcon, in October 1995. She said reliable sources told her that both she and Camilla would be removed so that Charles could marry Tiggy Lega Bourke. At that time, the Anglican Church did not allow divorced people to remarry, a rule that stayed in place until a synod in 2002. In 2004, the Metropolitan Police formed a special inquiry team called Operation Paget to investigate the numerous conspiracy theories surrounding Diana's death. This team was led by Commissioner John Stevens and focused on 175 different conspiracy claims made by Mohammed Al-Fayed. During the investigation, Charles was called as a witness. In 2005, he stated that he was unaware of the note Diana had written in 1995 and could not comprehend why she felt the way she did. Throughout the inquest, Al-Fayed consistently pushed the idea that there was a conspiracy behind the crash. He firmly believed that his son, Dodi, and Diana were murdered. The narrative returns to the call that left Colin momentarily speechless. It took place in England, where he received a communication from a colleague at Balmoral. This colleague informed Colin that Princess Diana had been involved in a car accident. Following this alarming news, the colleague advised Colin to turn on the television to ascertain the details of the incident. He complied and was confronted with distressing news regarding the crash. The impact of what he witnessed on the screen was profound. Promptly, Colin dressed and proceeded to Kensington Palace. During the drive, a torrent of emotions engulfed him. He experienced shock, distress, and a sense of helplessness, acutely aware that there was nothing he could do to alter the course of events. Upon his arrival at Kensington Palace, he was confronted with the stark reality of the situation. The severity of Princess Diana's condition exceeded his worst fears, and the scene was heart-wrenching. As the discussion on the chat show progressed, emotions intensified as Colin recounted his memories of that fateful night. He reflected on the moment he comprehended the gravity of Princess Diana's injuries. It was evident that the events of that evening had a lasting impact on him, with feelings of guilt and responsibility lingering throughout the years. The interview proved to be an emotionally taxing experience for Colin, as he articulated how the revelation of the accident in the early hours transformed an ordinary evening into a profound nightmare. the weight of the situation became increasingly apparent as he observed the news broadcast, prompting an urgent need to reach Kensington Palace. Throughout his narrative, it was clear that the inability to avert this tragedy burdened Colin significantly. The hosts, Kate and Ben, offered their support, posing gentle inquiries to facilitate Colin's sharing of his story. Colin faced an especially difficult task: the responsibility of repatriating Princess Diana's body from Paris to England. This obligation added to the emotional strain he was already experiencing. Despite feeling overwhelmed by grief, he recognized the necessity of remaining strong and focused during this challenging time. Upon Colin's arrival in Paris, he was met with a scene of profound disarray. The media frenzy was overwhelming, with reporters and photographers inundating the area in pursuit of insight into the tragic event. Navigating through the throngs of people amidst the chaos proved to be a formidable challenge. The media's relentless attention further complicated the situation. Witnessing Princess Diana's body in the mortuary was an exceptionally difficult moment for Colin. The finality of her death struck him with considerable force. It was a deeply emotional experience that he struggled to articulate. He experienced profound sadness and an overwhelming sense of loss. The sight of her lifeless form starkly contrasted with the vibrant and compassionate individual he had known. Colin understood the necessity of maintaining his composure and regulating his emotions, despite the intense feelings he was experiencing. He recognized his duty to fulfill and was determined to honor Princess Diana's memory in the most respectful manner possible. Facilitating the repatriation of her body to England represented a significant gesture of respect and love. Although the journey was fraught with difficulties, he felt a compelling need to see it through. As Colin organized the arrangements for bringing Princess Diana's body back, he encountered numerous challenges. The logistics of the situation were intricate, and the pressure exerted by the media exacerbated the difficulties. Nevertheless, Colin remained resolute in his commitment to execute his responsibilities with dignity and care. Throughout this arduous process, Colin was bolstered by the support of those around him. Many individuals admired and cherished Princess Diana, and they united to assist in any capacity they could. This collective sense of community and shared grief provided a small measure of solace during such a somber period. The return journey to England proved to be the most challenging aspect of this experience. Colin traveled alongside Princess Diana's body, acutely aware of the weight of his responsibilities. Upon his arrival in England, the reality of her death intensified. The nation was enveloped in mourning, yet Colin's responsibilities were far from complete. Numerous arrangements remained to be made in preparation for Princess Diana's final farewell. He continued to work diligently, ensuring that every detail was managed with the utmost respect and care. The subsequent days were characterized by moments of reflection, sorrow, and a profound commitment to honoring Princess Diana's legacy. During this difficult time, Colin found Paris to be a city of challenges rather than the city of love. The usually vibrant and lively atmosphere of the city felt foreign and overwhelming in the wake of such tragedy. One of the initial obstacles Colin faced was the language barrier. Despite Paris's status as a global city, not all individuals spoke English fluently, complicating effective communication with the French medical staff and officials. Each interaction necessitated additional effort, contributing to his stress. Fortunately, amid these linguistic challenges, Colin was not alone. His wife provided invaluable emotional support during this tumultuous time. Her presence was a source of comfort in the chaos, offering a steady hand and calming his nerves. Her ability to remain composed and supportive provided Colin with strength when he felt particularly overwhelmed. Colin also benefited from the assistance of a military attaché who acted as an intermediary. This individual facilitated Colin's understanding of the necessary procedures, aiding him in navigating the bureaucratic and logistical hurdles. The attaché's involvement proved to be immensely beneficial, allowing Colin to concentrate on his duties without becoming mired in administrative complexities. The scene at the hospital where Princess Diana was taken remains etched in memory. Colin provided a detailed account, stating, "The hospital was abuzz with activity. Medical professionals were diligently engaged in their efforts to assist, yet it was evident that there was an urgency to ensure that everything was executed correctly and promptly. Officials from both France and the United Kingdom were present, overseeing the situation to ensure that appropriate protocols were adhered to and to provide necessary support. Members of the public also gathered outside the hospital, comprising ordinary individuals who had come to pay their respects and express their solidarity. Their expressions reflected the collective shock and sorrow that permeated the atmosphere. Some were engaged in silent prayer, while others were openly mourning. Colin found himself at the epicenter of this tumultuous situation. Witnessing Princess Diana's body in the hospital mortuary was an indelible experience. The chaos surrounding the hospital was equally memorable, with reporters and photographers vying for information and attempting to capture images. The premises were inundated with press personnel, their cameras flashing incessantly, and their inquiries often intrusive. In that moment, Colin recognized the gravity of his responsibility. He was determined to ensure that Princess Diana was treated with the utmost respect. The room where Diana was housed was excessively warm, and he was concerned that individuals might attempt to intrude and glimpse her. He took measures to regulate the temperature and ensure that no one could peer inside. Colin was resolute in his desire to uphold her dignity, even in death. He made certain that all procedures were conducted appropriately so that Diana could rest in peace without disturbance. Colin encountered significant pressure, necessitating a high degree of professionalism despite the emotional turmoil he experienced. A particularly poignant moment arose while he was alone with Diana. A fan was operating to maintain a cooler environment, inadvertently causing her hair to move. This unexpected occurrence was jarring for Colin, prompting him to take a moment to compose himself and refocus on his duties. Despite the stress and sorrow, Colin remained committed to fulfilling his responsibilities with excellence. During the show, Colin also shared personal reflections regarding Princess Diana. He recalled her as possessing a remarkable sense of humor and noted their amicable rapport during their time together. Her passing had a profound effect on him. The loss was particularly challenging due to her kindness and admirable character. Colin felt a profound sense of bereavement, not solely as a professional obligation, but also because he genuinely valued Diana as a person. He reflected on her significance in his life and how her death altered his perspective. Another challenge Colin faced was addressing the multitude of questions and conspiracy theories circulating among the public and media regarding the circumstances surrounding the crash that claimed Princess Diana's life. The theories he encountered were merely a fraction of the myriad beliefs, highlighting the extent of the speculation and rumors he had to manage. Individuals sought to understand the truth of the situation and the reasons behind it, leading to an array of narratives and conjectures, with some suggesting that the crash encompassed more than what was officially reported. Colin chose to share his personal experience of traversing the tunnel where the crash occurred, articulating the complexities of navigating that area. He described the disorienting nature of driving through the tunnel, particularly at night when visibility could be compromised by the city lights. Colin emphasized that even a cautious driver might struggle with directionality in that tunnel. He noted how easy it was to become disoriented, given the numerous curves and the constricting walls that seemed to envelop the vehicle. Without meticulous attention, one could easily lose their sense of orientation. Colin sought to convey the complexity of driving within the tunnel, emphasizing that it was not as straightforward as it may appear. He articulated how the illumination from vehicles and the reflections off the tunnel walls could significantly impair visibility, posing a considerable risk for those traveling at high speeds. Colin shared this perspective to elucidate that the crash could have stemmed from the challenging driving conditions within the tunnel, rather than any obscure or nefarious factors. He recalled feeling somewhat disoriented during his initial passage through the tunnel, underscoring his intent to help others appreciate the potential for confusion in such an environment. The combination of twists, turns, and the interplay of light and shadow rendered it a particularly difficult area for navigation. He stressed that even a fleeting moment of disorientation could result in a severe accident. By recounting his personal experience, Colin aimed to clarify the circumstances surrounding the incident and to illustrate that it may have been an unfortunate accident attributable to the driving conditions rather than a result of hidden motives or conspiracies. Colin recognized that many individuals held their own theories regarding the cause of the crash, and he respected their desire for answers. However, he felt compelled to share his perspective, emphasizing that tragedies can occur due to straightforward, unfortunate circumstances. He then shifted the focus to the medical team's efforts in Paris, specifically highlighting Dr. Damon, who, along with his colleagues, conducted emergency surgeries utilizing advanced medical technology. They worked expeditiously and meticulously, fully cognizant of the critical condition of Princess Diana. It was a race against time, and the medical team understood that every moment was crucial. Despite their dedicated efforts to save her life, ultimately, they were unable to prevent her passing. In the aftermath of the princess's death, the medical team faced a barrage of inquiries, often questioning whether more could have been done. Dr. Damon and his colleagues felt the weight of this scrutiny, as they had exerted every effort in their attempt to save her. This experience was profoundly challenging for them, given their commitment to patient care. Like Colin, Dr. Damon continues to be haunted by the events of that tragic night. For him and the medical team, moving forward entails carrying the lessons learned from that experience as they maintain their dedication to their profession, always remembering Princess Diana and the tireless efforts they made in her care. Following the interment of Princess Diana, a surge of conspiracy theories emerged, many of which were more shocking than those previously discussed in the video. One prominent theory posits that Princess Diana was murdered due to her alleged pregnancy with Mohammed Al-Fayed and their impending engagement. Proponents of this theory suggest that the British royal family, adhering to Christian values, could not accept Diana, the mother of the future king, being involved in a relationship with an Egyptian Muslim. This narrative implies that such a union would be deemed unacceptable by the royal family. Mohammed Al-Fayed's father was a staunch advocate of this theory, reiterating his claims during the inquest into Diana's death in February 2008. He accused numerous individuals, including Prince Philip and Prince Charles, who subsequently became King Charles III, as well as Diana's sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, among others, of participating in a conspiracy to eliminate Diana and his son. Another theory, articulated by Jeffrey Steinberg of the Executive Intelligence Review, EIR, alleges that Princess Diana was murdered by security services acting on the orders of Prince Philip. The EIR, associated with the Lyndon LaRouche movement in the United States, has propagated the notion of a premeditated murder. An article published in the Daily Telegraph in 1998 reported on the conspiracy theories put forth by the EIR and suggested historical ties between the EIR and Mohammed Al-Fayed. Furthermore, journalist Francis Ween noted in 1999 that Al-Fayed's spokesperson had advised journalists to consult Steinberg regarding these theories. These conspiracy theories continue to incite debate and speculation regarding the circumstances surrounding Princess Diana's death. Despite official investigations and inquiries, a segment of the public remains convinced that there is more to the tragic accident, citing the various connections and assertions made by Al-Fayed and others. Public reactions to these theories have been mixed. Some individuals find them credible given the contentious nature of Diana's life and relationships, while others dismiss them as unfounded, preferring the official explanations provided by the investigations conducted in Britain and France. The emotional toll of these conspiracy theories has significantly affected those who cherished Princess Diana. Her family and friends have had to navigate not only the grief of her loss, but also the relentless speculation and accusations surrounding her untimely death. Mohammed Al-Fayed asserted in television interviews that Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed intended to announce their engagement on September 1st, 1997, the Monday following the tragic crash. However, Operation Paget, an investigative initiative, highlighted that such a significant announcement from the princess would have constituted a major global event necessitating extensive preparatory measures. Nevertheless, no evidence was found to corroborate the assertion that preparations for such an announcement were in progress. CCTV footage presented during the inquest revealed that Dodi had left Repassi Jewelers on August 30th with only a catalog, thereby casting doubt on the claim that he had purchased an engagement ring. Alberto Repassi, in 2003, initially stated that the ring had been placed on Diana's finger in a Saint-Tropez hotel and was undergoing resizing for collection in Paris. However, he subsequently acknowledged receiving legal documents from Al-Fayed, a long-term client, which indicated a different narrative. Al-Fayed contended that the ring was selected in Monte Carlo and that Dodi had retrieved it in Paris the day prior to their deaths following alterations. This account stands in contradiction to statements from a shop assistant and the CCTV footage, which indicated that a ring was selected by a Ritz hotel official and subsequently purchased by Mohammed Al-Fayed posthumously. Al-Fayed's claims regarding the engagement and the ring purchase have been subjected to scrutiny and have been contradicted by various forms of evidence, including CCTV recordings and witness testimonies. These inconsistencies have fostered skepticism regarding the assertions surrounding Diana and Dodi's purported plans to announce their engagement. Moreover, just hours before the tragic accident, on the afternoon of August 30th, Diana reached out to her journalist friend, Richard Kay, to inquire about the content of the Sunday newspapers. Notably, during this conversation, there was no mention by Diana of any impending announcement she intended to make. Perhaps more significantly, the testimony of Diana's elder sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, revealed a phone conversation on Friday, August 29th, during which Diana expressed sentiments suggesting that her relationship with Dodi Fayed was experiencing challenges. Friends and confidants of Diana, including her butler Paul Burrell, her acquaintance Lady Annabel Goldsmith, and her spiritual advisor Rita Rogers, recounted discussions with her in the week leading up to her death. They collectively affirmed that Diana was resolute in her decision against engagement or marriage at that stage in her life. These accounts collectively illustrate Diana's mindset in the days preceding the tragedy, indicating that she was not contemplating an engagement or marriage, contrary to certain theories and speculations. The interactions that Princess Diana had with her close circle of friends and family in the days leading up to the tragic crash offer valuable insight into her psychological state and her feelings toward Dodi Fayed. Although she did express concerns regarding her relationship with Dodi to her sister, there was no indication of any plans for engagement. The consistent testimonies from those nearest to her also reflect Diana's firm position against marriage or engagement at that time in her life. Furthermore, years later, substantial evidence emerged to refute the theory of her pregnancy. In January 2004, John Burton, the former coroner of the Queen's household, disclosed in an interview with The Times that he had participated in a post-mortem examination of Princess Diana's body at Fulham Mortuary. During this examination, Burton personally inspected her womb and concluded that she was not pregnant at the time of her death. Robert Chapman, who conducted the post-mortem examination, corroborated Burton's findings, stating that there were no indications of pregnancy in Diana's womb and ovaries. To address claims made by Mohammed Al-Fayed, Operation Paget, an investigative team, undertook scientific tests on pre-transfusion blood found in the footwell of the seat occupied by Princess Diana in the crashed Mercedes. These tests aimed to detect the presence of the HCG hormone, which is associated with pregnancy, but the blood samples showed no traces of this hormone, further substantiating the assertion that Diana was not pregnant at the time of the crash. In addition to the scientific analysis, Operation Paget conducted extensive interviews with individuals who were in regular contact with Diana in the weeks preceding her death. While much of the sensitive information gathered from these interviews was not included in Operation Paget's official criminal investigation report, it was noted that Diana's friends indicated she was adhering to her normal menstrual cycle, and there were even signs that she was using contraception. To honor and commemorate Diana, Princess of Wales, a statue has been placed in the sunken garden at Kensington Palace in London. This statue, created as a tribute by her two sons, William and Harry, marks the 20th anniversary of her passing. Sculptor Ian Rank Broadley was commissioned to design and craft the statue, while Pip Morrison oversaw its placement in the garden, which had been redesigned for this purpose. The statue was officially unveiled to the public as a memorial to Diana on July 1, 2021, coinciding with what would have been her 60th birthday. In light of this information, what are your thoughts regarding her death? Do you believe it was accidental, or do you suspect it was the result of a deliberate murder plot? We invite you to share your perspectives in the comments section. If you found this video informative, please consider liking it, sharing it with your family and friends, and subscribing to our channel to stay updated on our future uploads.